The people who succeed are irrationally passionate about something. Naval Ravikant. My friends, I'm irrationally passionate about charting stocks, ETFs, figuring out which way the markets are going. I love it. Every single day, you hear me. I'm here. I do this for free for you. And it helps me a lot too. There's nothing like teaching something, nothing like requiring yourself to delve into the market on a daily basis. I encourage you to do the same thing with your favorite stocks and ETFs. And of course, the 5 ETFs that we cover here, which is the S&P 500 up for the day, the NASDAQ 100 up for the day, 20-year bonds up for the day, gold up for the day, and Bitcoin down. Let's jump into these charts as we always do. First with the S&P 500, and man, it is a beautiful week, up again 1.24%. My gosh, when you go back and look at where you could have jumped in, the worst point in the week beginning the 20th of March, the highest point, 402.49. The next week, if you'd have waited and jumped in when things started to move up, it would have been 409. So it was 402.49, 409.70. So we'll just say roughly 410. If you jumped in at 410, what was the highest we've seen this week? 443.90. Is that not gorgeous? Just following the trend. The trend is your friend until the end. When's the end coming? I don't know, but it's all going up now, and that is just beautiful. You would have had an incredible practice trade. Remember, we're not a stock calling service, we're an education firm. We look at where the 2-day and the half-day are with this weekly trend line that's drawn on both. You can see things are looking good, well above the 2-day and the half-day. Looking good. Let's move on. It was up 1.24%. Where are we? On the NASDAQ 100 today, up 1.19%. Likewise, if you would have jumped in here, I don't know. That would have been a hard call to make with that screwy candle. You might have done it because of the high volume. It was just barely green after sliding sideways for 2, almost 3 prior weeks. But if you'd have waited, if you'd have jumped in there, the worst time to jump in would have been 309.15. The next week, the worst time, 315.25. A high of what? 371.77. Is that not absolutely gorgeous? Yes, it is. We look at the 2-day, we can see we're above the weekly trend line there. And also on the half day, just stair steps, moving up to profitability, to a successful, ongoing successful practice trade. Now let's move on to bonds. Bonds, I think we're pulling the trigger to get out of bonds. We'll see what things look like tomorrow, but bonds have gone from a spinning top, a doji that was red, to a green one. And we can see where it popped up on the 2-day candle. 2-day chart, 2-day candle popped through the weekly trend line back on the 31st of May and then went back below it, but now is surging back up through it again. We can see that happening where it also happened on the half day. Bounding up in the morning, pulling back a little bit in the afternoon, but not looking good for a continued down trade here. So we'll be looking most likely on Friday at pulling that practice trade. We'll see, though. What about gold? Well, gold, again, pushing up at the end of the day on the half-day chart. Now, that's our smallest chart of all. Where we are on the 2-day, representing Wednesday and Thursday, we got a doji there just below the weekly trend line. Weekly is negative still, just barely holding on negative on the candle. So we'll be assessing that on Friday also. Now, lastly, we'll go to Bitcoin, and yes, Bitcoin is moving in the right direction, and that is down. That's exactly what we wanted. We want Bitcoin to pull back for a little while, reset, then give us a good jumping in point. I really want that to happen, and so far it is happening. You can tell Bitcoin way below on the 2-day and on, and some reason that just looks way too flat. Let's try redrawing that just to see. Now see, something doesn't seem right about this. I'm not sure why this is happening to us. We're going to take that, redraw it a little bit, see how this goes. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So for some reason it just seemed too flat. So what do we see? Again, like I was saying, sometimes, the charts, they're just little quirks with it, and you've seen me here lately having to redraw these trend lines. If something doesn't look right on the chart, always investigate. Don't just sit there like a dummy and, do something that doesn't make sense to you. So I did redraw that, but we can still see we're decently below the weekly trend line on both the half day and the 2-day. So again, recalibrating, resetting, heading down. That's what we wanted to see with Bitcoin. That is where we are, folks, as we end the day. So appreciate you being with us, Patreon members. I will be putting out to you very soon. This evening, I'll be getting out the 20 weekly vertical crossovers for you. I'll be looking for 20, and we will be getting those out to you later. Of course, already at the Patreon page, we put up earlier in the week the 3-wave trades for you and the charting cryptos, commodities, and currencies. And of course, we'll be releasing that last one tomorrow at the close of the markets for everybody. There will be a link in the email today for both of those items for Patreon members. And of course, everything we do, we also upload it at the Patreon page. So even if you don't see an email, it went to your spam filter, whatever, it's there at the Patreon page. If you're not a Patreon member, want to support what we do, we'd sure appreciate it. Don't forget, the first thing you get as a Patreon member is our training, 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. You will love it. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.